Hi everybody, thanks for renting the camper. My name is Mike Henry, I'm the owner, and I'm going to walk you through how to set this up. One of the first things you'll do when you arrive is you're going to put the hitch on your vehicle. So you're going to use the hitch that comes with the trailer. And I'll help you do this if I'm here, otherwise you'll do this on your own. Just slide that in. And we'll get the pin and lock it in. Now, what you're going to need for this vehicle is this 7-pin hitch receiver electric plug, adapter thing, whatever you call that. It's going to correspond here with this. Now, we're going to set that up, but you don't want to do that until you're ready to hook up the trailer. So, we're going to go through a step-by-step process following a sheet that I've created for you. When you get ready to take this camper out, first thing you're going to have to do is bring the slide in, and in order to do that, you need to collapse this table. So the easiest way to do that is to flip it upside down like this, and be careful not to hit this into the window. There's a knob right here. You're going to pull this knob, and the table will start to pull this way or slide this way. And that's all locked in. Now, if you just started driving like that, this will fall off and break things. So, underneath this cushion is this red strap. And what you're going to do is you're going to pull this strap out and use this to hold the table down. Okay? So, we'll put this back now. And you're going to basically pull it tight to the wall. Just come through it like this. Oops. Put it through here. Pull that tight. And now that table's not going to move around very much. Okay? Also, you're going to take these cushions, you're going to stack them up here. These cushions, this whole slide is going to come in this way. So, now I'm going to show you how the slide works. You basically are going to just press in, and as we do that, the whole slide will come in. Alright? Show it down on the bottom. Look at this area. And now it's done. So before you start driving, anything that's left out will fall off the counter. So we're going to open up this cabinet. We're going to put the coffee maker in there. And anything that's out, we want to tuck it away behind a closed door. Even paper towels will roll around. And of course, you're going to put the book away. Put that in here. All the steps in this instruction. So, we're going to follow the steps for teardown. We've started by removing all our belongings. We've washed and dried and put away the dishes. We've emptied out the fridge, and we've collected all the trash. Now, step 2 was just what we did with putting away everything that's on the counters, flipping the table upside down, collapsing it, and strapping it down. Now, we've also brought in the slide, and we've got to make sure that the TV is strapped, so let's take care of that. Most of the time, the TV will be like this when you're watching, and before you drive, we just got to strap it back. So we're going to push this to the back, and we're going to take the strap and connect it so that the TV won't wobble around, and we'll tighten that down. Okay, step 4 is done. Now step 5, we're going to turn off all the lights, and If we're going to go through tunnels, we're going to ensure that the propane is turned off. Each of the lights are controlled with just a switch in the middle. And we'll take care of all of those. And before we leave, let's just make sure that everything's put away in the bathroom. We'll make sure that, well, we travel with the broom in here so it won't flop around everywhere. And you do want to make sure, by the way, that the fan in the bathroom is closed, which is this knob here. Okay, that's good. One more thing before you leave is you'll want to turn off the water heater and the water pump. Alright, now that we've got all the interior buttoned up, let's go up to the front. We're going to open up these hatches here. This is magnetic, which is one of my favorite things about this. We're going to make sure that the camping chairs have been put away and all of the tools necessary for the camper are put away, the grill's put away, and our our Lego bricks. Now, when you arrive, you might see these in this configuration. I'm going to show you how to do this real quick. These are just leveling blocks, or stabilizer blocks really, and they're designed to just keep the RV wheels on the ground, but to keep the RV from rocking back and forth too much. So we're going to just bring this down until you just barely start to feel some tension like that. You'll do that for all 4 of these. Before we hook up to the truck, we're going to make sure these are put back up. Oops. Alright, now we're going to put that in there. The next step, step 2 on the sheet, is to remove your city water connection. So you'll turn off the hose at the campground and then we'll disconnect right here. Both the inside and the outside can turn. Then we'll just plug that up, and we'll make sure that all the water is empty out of this hose before we put it underneath. Now we'll store that underneath. If you've used the outside shower, just make sure everything's turned off and wrap the line and store this in here. And you'll need the key, the black key, to close that up. And that's buttoned up. The next step is to remove the power. So that's right here. We're going to disconnect. Well, first of all, you're going to turn off the breaker at the campsite, and then you'll come and unplug this. So that's what we'll do. And you'll see that there's really only one way to put this in. So you just line it up, and lining it up is a little easier than said than done. Lock it in place, and then this will just secure it so it doesn't fall out. So for now, we're going to take this and we'll unplug it at the campground. Now, this here is an adapter. If it's not hot enough outside to use the air conditioning, everything else in the camper can run off of a regular household outlet. But you'll just need the adapter. And otherwise, I'm going to pull this off. There we go. That's what a 30-pin adapter looks like. And I'll show you what it will look like at the campground. At the campground, you'll see a plug that looks like this. It's a 3-prong 30-amp plug. I'll just put that in there, and then the other side goes to the camper. All right. So now that we've disconnected the power, we're going to put this adapter back on to be used here at the house, and then we're going to go store this underneath the front compartment. Now, the next step's kind of nasty. When you arrive at the campsite, you'll find something that looks very similar to this. It's just a a plug. You're going to put your septic down inside there. Now, on this R-Pod, there are 2 drops. This one, called the wastewater holding tank, is what we call the gray water. You'll notice the gray handle. On this side is the sewer outlet. We call it the black tank, and you'll notice that there. When you're at the campsite, if you have full hookups, you'll still only use the gray. And the reason is you want your poop to become soupy in the tank before it's flushed out. And if you don't let it get soupy, the hard stuff will sit at the bottom and dry out, and then the tank will fill up and get smelly. So leave this closed. You'll empty that at that's the very last thing you'll do before you leave the campground. Sometimes you'll have to drive to the septic dump. Sometimes you'll just have to move the hose. So that is step 4. And I'll show you how that's to be done. When you get to your campsite, this cap will be on it. And you'll simply unplug the cap, or unscrew the cap. Put the new line in here. Pull the other side all the way out and connect it at the drop. Then you'll come back here and you'll pull open this handle right here. Now, I don't know if the renter emptied it last time, so I'm going to leave it closed. But that's what you'll do when you're at the campsite. So we're going to pretend that you just emptied it. Once you've emptied, you're going to close this before you take off that cap. Put the holding cap back on. We'll put this back on here so that the smell of this thing doesn't waft through the camper. And that's what it'll look like when we put it away. Okay, when you get to the campsite, you'll find something like this. Unscrew the cap. This little adapter, it also can undo like that. Put that back on. And this will screw in the same threads as were here. Now you're going to connect your septic from this end first, like this. These little quick connects. And then this will go connect to your camper. Alright? When you're done, you'll flush everything out. And as you empty, you'll want to raise it like this to make sure everything goes down the drain before you put it back. Now, when you're done, we'll disconnect it here. You'll have maybe some water in the line. Then you'll take this and connect it to itself like that. Unscrew this. Make sure you have both parts with you. And ideally you'll use some gloves. Now these are clean, so that's why I'm not using it. But we do have some gloves in the camper for you to use so that you don't have poopy hands when you're driving. Everything away, the camper is ready to be hooked up to the truck. So this is now step 5. We've made sure that all of these stabilizers are retracted. We don't want to raise this camper until that is done. So now that we know that's done, we're going to just open this up. Oops, other way. We're going to raise it up until it's high enough to fit on the hitch. We don't really know how high that is, so we're just going to go pretty high, kind of eyeball it, and then we'll see. Okay, now I'm going to go back up the truck, and we're going to see how this works. One of the best inventions in the whole wide world is a backup camera. It's a marriage saver. But if you don't have one, make sure you have a spotter here. But don't have them stand between you and the truck. Have them stand, don't have them stand between the camper hitch and the truck. You want to have them away from that so that they can help guide you. Make sure that when you're backing up the truck, always have your windows down so that in case something runs in front of the truck, a child or a dog or something like that, you can tell them to stop. So when you're backing up, roll your windows down. Ready? Let's do this. Guys, stop. Yep. As you can see, I'm not high enough, so we're just going to raise this up a little bit more until I get under the hitch. That was hard to see, so I was grateful to have a spotter show me how to do it. Excellent. That should be enough. It's good. Perfect. Now, notice that this is in the up position. We want that up before we put it back onto the hitch here. So I'm going to bring this down now. And did you see how it dropped into place like that? That's what we want. Good. Now this should be able to close very easily. If not, pop it down like that. Sometimes you'll be too far back and you won't be able to close this. It will just keep trying to go like this. If that's the case, even though it's on, you can put the car in gear and just go about an inch so that this can lock down into place. And then we want to make sure that we put in the pin so that this can't pop off. Good. Now that we've got that connected, we're going to start with the safety chains. So we're just going to pull these under. The one on the driver's side has the brake safety. So in case this disconnects, there's a line that runs through here and connects to this brake, and it will activate the brakes on the trailer so that your trailer doesn't go flying down the road if any of this were to go wrong. It's just a safety measure. So we want to make sure that it's connected. Okay. Now we've got our chains connected. The next step is to connect our electric. And again, there's a little flat spot. You'll be able to see that on your truck. It just goes in there. And this little tab on your cover will keep that from pulling out. Now everything's connected to this, so what we can do now is we need to connect the stabilizer bars. Now these are very important because if you're not connected to the stabilizer bars, the trailer can sway as you're going down the highway. So I'm going to show you how this is to be done. I'm going to take these bars. You notice the stickers. You want to be able to see the stickers. That's the top. If you see this, it's upside down, and there is just a slight difference in this. So these are pretty tricky, but basically this is the open and the closed. So you're going to pop it in, and see how that keeps it from falling out now? Come on this side so you can see that better. All right. So we put these stabilizer bars in. We're going to put the bottom in first, and then the top is going to roll in, and you want to make sure that that's closed. When you're ready to pull it off, pull that down. Let's get that before the wind. Now I'm going to attach these. We're going to put the bottom in first, roll the top in. This is going to close. Now, do you see how this isn't quite on top of that? I could try and lift it with my man strength, but I'm going to use this, and we're just going to raise this up until that slides in. You see that? Now that's in, and we're going to use this J-looking pin, and it's going to slide in on the top and then underneath like this. The reason for that is to keep this from bouncing around. Okay, now we'll go do the other side. Okay, so again, we're going to slide this in here. It's going to lock into place. We're going to pull this pin. That should just slide right into place. Put the pin down. That looks good. Now we can drop the trailer and put the last Lego bricks away. Now as this comes up, we want it to definitely be above this area, because if you hit a rock or something else, this could get damaged. We're going to bring it up until you hear a little clicking noise. Like so. Alright, now we'll put the bricks away, and before we take off, we'll close all the cabinets. Now I personally don't lock them, but if you needed to, you could. Generally in the campgrounds, people aren't going to be stealing your Lego bricks. There's one last thing to do. Forgive the vacuum here, but we're going to make sure everything is else is put away. Turn all the lights off. We'll put the book away in here. Close this. We'll put this stair up. And the last thing is right here. We're going to take these wheel chocks out and put them away. I guess I should have left this open first. So, last thing's in, first thing's out. Alright, we'll go around and just double check all the windows are closed, nothing's hanging, nothing's in the way, nothing's still connected, our stabilizers are up, everything looks really good. Now, before we leave, we're going to double check a couple things. I forgot. We need to turn off the propane. So we're going to loosen this guy right here. And reach inside, and we're just going to turn that closed. Now when you get to where you're going, you can turn that on, otherwise your stove won't work and you'll say, why doesn't the stove work? It's because we turned off the propane. Okay, double check everything here. Everything looks good. There's nothing in the way. So now, we're going to turn on the truck and we're going to test all the lights. So we're going to turn the lights on and we're going to turn the blinker on, the left blinker. If we go to the back, you can see. It's good. Right blinker. Okay, here's the brakes. Yep. And now we're ready to go. One last thing before we leave. And I'll take the camera this time. This is the last thing we do before we leave, and that is we're going to adjust our brake controller. So as you can see, I have a brake controller in my truck, up and down. Gives me, here I have to close the door. When I press the brake on this controller, let me see here. I can adjust the level up and down, and I can also test this. I'm going to put the car in drive, and I'm going to let off the pedal, so it's as if it's just a very slow pulling away, and then I'm going to squeeze this without my foot on the brake. It's going to stop the camper. So watch again. As I squeeze, it stops the camper. Now we know that the trailer brake works. I'm just going to put the trailer back where I need it to go, and we're going to call that a good.